Hey guys, 2015 Corvette C7 here. I just wanted to come to you guys because today I'm going to show you guys the problems I've been having. Well, not show you the problems, but I'm going to go through in detail, kind of document on this video what I've tried to do to fix my 3D printer. So this is a Creality Ender 3 V3 SE. I got it for Christmas and it was pretty great on the day I got it. I got a really good benchy off of it that is around here somewhere, but I can't see it at the moment. Um, and I printed a couple of good things, including this infinity cube, which notice it was very easy to separate these hinges, moves phenomenally. This is the, I believe, second one of these I printed, and it is the last one I printed that was very good in terms of the rotational force required to move it, even after the hinges were broken loose. And as you can see by my graveyard over here, I have a lot of failed ones. So, first issue I started to get was a bed adhesion problem. I fixed that by just cleaning the bed, right? So this was it was a fully stock V3 SE. I cleaned the bed, fixed that, but mind you, this was like day 2 of me owning this printer. So next day, literally next day, I start having these problems again. This time, cleaning the bed does not fix it, and so I'm like, well, my bed surface is probably not that great. I actually did some Googling on this and found that the bed surface that ships with this printer, this one, is a polycarbonate coated one. And I think I actually did this. I actually damaged the bed surface itself doing a print, but that was after all of this happened. So anyway, it led to me ordering a new one from Amazon, which is the one that you're looking at right here. This one's powder coated, PEI coated, all that stuff. This bed has been much better, and it largely fixed my adhesion issues, but I was still having problems, and every infinity cube I would print would do something along the lines of this, which is not, this is not in any way how an infinity cube should look. As you can see, the hinge came right apart, and I was getting really frustrated at this point. I mean, I can print solid parts, okay, but I want to be able to print these things with moving parts. And it should not be so difficult to separate that you have to use tools and then the tools do this to it, you know? And you can see how many. So I was like, all right, I need to try something different. So I was researching online, Klipper. So that's the other thing, is this printer has like literally almost no documentation about people having these issues, except for like that they exist a little bit by one guy on YouTube. I'll link down there. Documentation is very slim. There are a few Klipper profiles for this printer. I managed to figure out what Klipper was and how to use it enough to flash it onto this printer. I was already running Octoprint on a stock firmware on that Raspberry Pi right underneath this bin here. So I just flashed the Klipper onto that, put the Klipper on here, and now I have a much more control of the printer. And one of the first things I noticed upon installing Klipper was that my bed looked like this. It was probably about that much of an angle on the graph in Klipper of the bed mesh. And so I was like, well, that tells me that my bed really isn't level. And upon doing more research on the auto bed leveling that's supposedly included with this printer, I found that this printer actually does not level its bed at all. It just comes to terms with how out of level it is and adjusts itself, adjusts the print head, moves the Z gantry to compensate. That is a compensation for the problem. That is not a correction of the problem. So now I knew my bed was out of level, and I knew that I wasn't going to be fixing this because there it had stock. It had the stock. This printer comes with solid supports down here below the bed, mounting it to the machine frame. And as you can see, mine actually has springs. And that's because the next thing I did to this printer was order springs. I bought springs, and it came with the wheels too, but I didn't put the wheels on because the way this printer design doesn't use the wheels. And they wouldn't even fit. They would hit the side when the bed came far forward. So I put the springs on it, and I used the calculate Z tilt function in Klipper to get the bed level. And that worked phenomenally. Ever since I did that, I have not had adhesion issues with this printer, with this bed. It's been perfectly level every time. I have the bed mesh saved. It's awesome. I'm still using a bed mesh, but it has to do a lot less. And it's great on that part. I'm getting much better adhesion. I'm not having problems. It's not coming off the bed. It's not, So I fixed that. But I'm still having these problems. I'm still not able to print these cubes, right? I can print calibration cubes, which is what I did. That was what I did just last night because I wanted to make sure it was dimensionally accurate. It was a little bit off. I got it pretty close. And I printed a couple more infinity cubes today. Same flipping result. Also somewhere in this process, I did level the X gantry. The X gantry was off level, and so that's why it was like this. And so I was able to fix that by doing the gantry calibration. But then I also noticed that it was out of level this way, which you're not going to fix by changing the orientation of this. And rather than trying to make this go, because I think this is as good as it's probably going to get, I just bought the springs after that point. So the plane of the head movement and the plane of the bed are the same plane as far as this size of a print bed is concerned. So my only thing left is I have extrusion issues, and I have tried everything in my power in slicer settings, flow rate settings, speed, turning down, and I have not been able to fix this darn problem. My infill in particular is under extruding, and I don't know what to do. I've replaced the nozzle like 3 times because I initially thought that my bed adhesion issues were extrusion issues. They were not. So one of the first things I did to this printer was replace the nozzle because they send you another one in the box. This printer is a project. It's cheap. You are buying a project. You're not buying a printer. I want to make that very clear. I have been trying to fix this thing because it's the only one I have. I need a printer. I like this printing thing that I've been getting into. This is my very first one, so I feel like a fish out of water trying to figure this crap out. But I have a decent IT background. I've been able to do it decently well. So since I'm having extrusion issues, I'd heard about, this PTFE, this tube right here going bad on people's printers from the heat and stuff. This one looks pretty good, but I couldn't see it, obviously, without taking the extruder apart. So that's what I did just tonight. I took this extruder apart, and I discovered that nothing looked too out of the ordinary, either on any of this stuff or this. But you might notice that my bed probe is just kind of chilling here. And that's because when I removed the hot glue from this connector for the CR Touch bed probe, the connector housing grenaded. Well, actually, it ripped in half. This is now my connector housing. And without my CR Touch, I cannot start a print because the first thing Klipper does is it tries to home the axes, and the Z-axis can't level because the sensor is in an error state. So I now have an officially disabled Ender 3 V3 SE. I've ordered a new cable. It is coming the day after tomorrow. I will update you guys when it gets here. But I just wanted to put this video out there because I feel like I'm probably not the only person having these problems with this printer. As I said, his name escapes me right now. I don't know what his name is, but I'll link his channel down below, a couple of his videos about this particular printer, the issues that he's been going through to fix it. He's the one that taught me about the screw tilt calibrate. That worked amazingly for me for the bed adhesion issues. I am just now trying to find my way to the extrusion issues. I have not found the extrusion issues yet. I've got more new nozzles here. These are brass from Creality. They're the right size. They're the right thing. Those took a while to ship, so I've had some copper alloy nozzles in there. I've heard these nozzles are not that great, so I'm going to stop using the copper alloy, move over to straight brass, but my brasses were dirty, and I thought, okay, it might be a dirty nozzle causing my issues. And as you can see, that manifested into a whole bucket, a shoe bucket, probably a whole spool worth of failed prints. To say this has taken a lot of effort and only resulted in disappointment would be a gross understatement. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling because this video is near 10 minutes long, and I know you guys have lives, and me talking about my printer is not the most interesting thing in the world, so I'll let you guys go. But thank you guys for watching all the way to the end, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.